Could you repeat?
Yeah, well, where do you situate life, or how you explain it in relation to force and justice, the thing that we were just talking about? How, in this equation, where life, or how it's represented, maybe in ethnographic examples. What do you mean when you say life? Or what does it mean for them? You said you were still coping with that question, but.
That's a great question. What's life there? I don't know. I don't know, because this is a limit of what Western political theory for me. Marx is useful to an extent, but I would even go as far as to say that even Marx will avoid this kind of idea of life, like disease. Marx does not, something like that. I don't know, because your question is something like this: what something that collapses the body of the Christ and God itself look like? I think that's your question is as difficult as that one, I think. But that's very useful for me to think that. So thank you very much.
I was thinking maybe just to add to it, is it maybe something like citizenship, or where does the citizenship come into this equation?
Citizenship.
Or like just people's lives?
Okay, let me try to unpack this way. So Peter and Paul, let's say that the Marx passage on Peter and Paul is a description of how citizenship comes into existence. Because we can just simply replace humanity. How does one partake in humanity is a question of citizenship. For Marx, that process is inherently unequal or antagonistic because of the fact that citizenship has to take the physical shape of Paul. So Peter's citizenship is something that Peter cannot access. So Peter is told that he also has a citizenship. But the manifestation, outward manifestation of Peter supposedly has in his inside is in the shape of Paul. Which means something like citizenship is lodged within oneself as something alien that you cannot access. I think Lacan would call something like extimacy. It is lodged in yourself as an inner potential of some sort that you will never have a relation to. You can never develop a relation as a subject-object relation. In my opinion, Foucault completely rips off that idea from Marx. This dynamic, because in Foucault, something like life, sexuality, and all these things are something that gets to lodge within ourselves, only to the extent that we cannot have access to it, we cannot have a relation to it. And power references that, with which we cannot develop a relation to truth. I think that's why when he talks about discipline he compares a discipline as a gaze. He doesn't talk about gaze as producing visible things, but he talks about visibility. Visibility is different from visible things because when he says, for example, that panopticon creates the effect of seeing and being seen. The prisoner can see himself as if the prisoner is placing himself at the watchtower. Right? Foucault is, of course, not forwarding this crazy idea that someone can see oneself as you are embodying, inhabiting the gaze. He's not saying that. He is talking about visibility in the sense that when you are looking and then internalize being looked at, the relation between the two is, you are you. You cannot be here and there at the same time. But when he talks of visibility, the way the being seen and seeing relate is such a way that there's a gap emerges between the two. And in the gap resides sexuality, life, and all this. It's a power in the first. So Foucault's the discussion of power I think is very analogous to what Marx was. And it is a very important that we see this discussion, Marx's discussion of Peter and Paul, in the context of his discussion of the rise of equivalent form, linen and the code. It is very necessary that we see that in that context because of this reason. If something like value exists in linen, whose value is being expressed in the form, in the medium of the code, if exchange value and use value is supposed to be something in linen, the moment that value is expressed in the medium of the code, what happens is that what is supposed to be internal opposition, internal difference, inner difference within linen, use value and exchange value is externalized. And the code stands for exchangeability itself. The code stands for nothing but exchange value. In linen, nothing but use value. A hierarchy is created in that fashion. The moment when you create something valuable, something unvaluable is created. Here, use value is becoming unvaluable because of the reason. Does it make sense? So this idea that inner opposition is external and outwardly manifested, and each commodity is the role of that which used to be inner opposition within linen is precisely how Marx talks. To the extent that happens, linen's exchange value is not accessible to linen itself. Right? All the exchange value is manifested now in the shape of the code. Then linen can look at it. I'm just talking about citizenship. Right? Linen can look at the code and say, look, there's a citizen. Right? That thing tells me I have that, but I don't know what it is. But I must have it. I cannot have a relation to it. Something alien gets lodged in yourself. Yeah. That's what I mean. So gap is created because of that. And power references that gap.
Power makes the linen aware that it is not a code, and in that way controls it.
Linen is seized with a perpetual sense of insecurity, I suppose, because linen, citizenship is never looks like linen. In that sense. That's in that sense, something alien gets lodged within linen. I think it's very analogous to the problem of citizenship.
Is the idea of citizenship the same that?
Yeah, that is why, I mean, that is not unique to North Korea. Stalinism was also like, in the sense that citizenship is something that you cannot access as an ordinary citizen. So you have to prove yourself all the time. That's why your very nature is your task. That's why you can accuse yourself on trial. Right? That very possibility is facilitated by something alien get lodged inside yourself.
Pretty simple stuff.
It's yeah, but I'm not that smart, so like I do this, and today I feel like okay, I get it. Then tomorrow I have to do it all over again, and that's why theory is a torture. That's why theory is inherently assumes an old form of knowledge, as if like you are learning wisdom, as if you have to discover it again and again. I think that's a charm. Yes.
So to follow up on that, well, I have two questions. But you've invoked magic throughout this talk at various moments, and you discussed in the paper in relation to Struther and how she talks about magic. Could you talk about a little bit about what that does to sort of make things magical, first of all? And then just as a follow-up, I was just thinking to this, in terms of your experience of reading this sort of dense kind of North Korean political philosophy, what about it is boring? And what is that? And why do you keep reading it? I guess, I mean, what is this experience of boredom that you have from it? And what can you, I guess, is there something to learn from that? So two questions.
Well, you are crediting me with making this sounding unboring, and I appreciate that. But it is boring, believe me. I mean, when you actually try to read yourself, it's just impossible. But that's an interesting question. What exactly about it is so boring? I think I'm not immune to the contemporary world, which never takes North Korean thinking seriously. If a contemporary world, I think, were to look at North Korean political philosophy as something worthy of exploration, it is entirely possible that I wouldn't approach it with boredom. Boredom, I think, is an interesting phenomenon in the sense that boredom, you get bored as you are expecting something that is not forthcoming. And what happens then is you begin to self-relate. You become reflexive. You pay attention to the inner clock in yourself. Boredom is that. Something that has to fill time is not forthcoming. And the consequence of that is I examine myself. I'm alone in myself, as it were, in a way. And that's how Heidegger describes boredom. I don't know, but that's interesting because, that might be useful in the end in my attempt to unlock my own amnesia. So, something is happening there. That's a very interesting question. Why am I bored? Thank you.
there's a voice of power being spoken, but it's also coming from an anonymous space.
That's interesting. Your question reminded me of the fact that I didn't answer Matt's question of magic. So that would be one way to come back to this point. For me, traditional anthropology's discussion of magic was the most eye-opening moment of understanding what someone like Bergson means by society. So it's well known that in the literature of magic, it's well known that someone who does not believe in one's own magic will believe in others' magic. That is possible. Other people talked about that a lot as an attempt to capture what is society. Why can society heal, for example, heal sick people? You know? So the fact that a person who does not believe in one's own magical trick, shall we say, will still consult a fellow magician when he or she gets sick. That fact is nobody that we're talking about. The other who believes in your stead. You might be disillusioned by the particular school of magical practice that you practice yourself, but you will consult other fellow magicians. Why do you do that? Because believing in that magical effect is not within you. Your relation to that magical belief is always with the other. As if there's nobody that is believing in your stead. And of course, like Zizek talks about the fetishistic nature of a happy society in those terms, right? You step aside from yourself. And your action, your practice, your body believes for you. In anthropology literature, is talking in terms of the other. Evans Pritchard has an interesting discussion about he's a servant. He makes his servant to become apprentice of this magical trick because Evans Pritchard wants to expose the fact that this magical healing is nothing but subterfuge. It's a gimmick. So to expose that, he's a servant to become the apprentice. And when Evans Pritchard reveals to the apprentice that this is nothing but gimmick, he breaks down. I think he bursts in tears or something like that. But he goes on to not only practice this particular trick, he becomes a celebrated healer. So he doesn't believe it, but he becomes a celebrated healer. And in turn, he becomes a believer. Because of this reason, wow, I practice nothing but gimmick, but patient got cured. And I mean, you will really become a believer if you started out with a skepticism. I just did this and that gimmick, and then the person gets healed. Right? Something like that. Vers de Castro has a very interesting article called Zeno and the Art of Anthropology in the journal Common Knowledge. Zeno and the Art of Anthropology. And he highlights this passage from Marx and Marx on that, exactly on that, about that point. The question being, what is magic and what is society? And why does magic need society to have its effect? And so he talks about, he links Deleuze's idea of the other with the other talked about in anthropology literature, something like that. You might be interested in that. The other day I was at Berkeley, giving a slightly different version of the same talk. And Lawrence Cohn, no, I didn't hear from Lawrence Cohn himself, but William Stafford, who was a registered organizer of the visit, he was telling me about Lawrence Cohn's new project. His new project is about data. Data as an ontological power. So you mentioned this knowledge that has been created, and the author, the location of the author is imprecise. But the knowledge itself has an inner impetus. It takes a life of its own. And the new project that Lawrence Cohn is working on, and the reason that he calls it ontologic power is because knowledge and data, in this case digital data, has a material impetus about it. So the agency of that knowledge cannot be talked about in terms of society, mere society, the government, or particular agent, empirical agents. But there's something else going on. The moment that you amass this amount of data, something happens. It takes a life of its own. So all these things are addressing similar issues, I think. Yeah, but this is not new. That's what I'm trying to argue. Traditional anthropologists have been capturing this all along. And we are just newly using new vocabularies like the Deleuze's idea of the fourth person singular and all that to capture something that people have been saying all along, actually. Unknowingly, of course. Because it's one thing that they record these things, and it's another thing that they theorize. And when they theorize it, of course, they just completely embed it to the theory of the day, the structuralism or functionalism.
So let's say some talk. So unfortunately, we have to.
Thank you very
I
much.
think this will be great. But thank you so much for being with us. Those of you who are coming to dinner will be at Village Pizza in about 15 minutes.